Oh, shoot. Make sure I'm live on Instagram. Okay, we are live. Okay, I'm going to go click on the comments. And I'm going to just go to us for now. Get us bigger. Wow, this is so cool. I'm using new software. Hello, everybody, and welcome. If you are joining from YouTube, welcome. If you are joining from Facebook, hello. And if you are joining from Instagram, hello. Hello, Esmeralda. We've got a comment coming in. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. We'll just give about 5 minutes for folks to jump on in. And if you can see us from Instagram, please let me know because I don't know if it worked on Instagram. Hello, Monique. Hello. Awesome. Okay, now let's see here. I just want to make sure it is working on Instagram. Okay. If you can see me, see us on Instagram, let us know. If not, I think I have to do something really quickly here that I forgot to do. Sorry, folks. Bear with us. Technical difficulties. Hope you guys are all doing well. Maureen, how is the weather in Ottawa? Is it also cloudy there today?
It's kind of overcast, but it's nice and warm. Beautiful out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cloudy and a little bit windy here. Okay. I'm hoping it works. Okay. Okay. Hello, Instagram. I think we're live. Watching us from Facebook. Hello, Monique. Now this software is totally new. But if this works, this is amazing because I will probably do this for some live readings that I do. I think this would be a really cool way to reach out to multiple folks who might not have Instagram or Facebook or vice versa.
So we're all part of the experiment.
Yeah. Okay, hang on, you guys. I'm going to just really quickly make sure that it is showing me live because I can't tell if it's working on YouTube, on Instagram. Well, if it doesn't work, that's okay. Oh, no, I think we're live on Instagram, so that's great. I can see us. Okay. Let's try to figure out how we could tell that we're live on Instagram too. All right. So hello. So if you are joining from Instagram, please let me know. Just give us a little comment, and then we'll dive right in. We'll just give it another minute or two for folks to come in. I am wearing my extraterrestrial earrings today. I felt that was appropriate. I don't know if you can see them.
Very good.
I got these years ago, and I'm so happy I did because every once in a while they come in handy.
Very fun. I'm wearing labradorite, so that'll ground us. So if you take off for the
good, thank you.
Yeah, then we'll I'll probably still be here.
You'll anchor us. Give us some good grounding energy. Okay, great. Oh, is it? Okay, so fun fact, we were not live on Instagram, but we are now. Okay, I figured it out. All right. Welcome, everybody. If you are watching on Instagram, welcome. There is a little bit of a delay. So if we miss some comments, apologize. We'll try to get to them. But Maureen, I figured we'll, do our little spiel, give a little chat. We'll go into the book, and then if comments come in between or questions, and if something sticks out to you, Maureen, that you're like, oh, then let's go into it. Feel free to answer it.
My friends are all picking now the phone, so there you go.
Okay, great. Well, while Maureen grabs her phone. Hang on. Hello, everybody. I see some folks coming in. Now, if you are watching from Instagram, can you just give me, I think it'll work, but I just want to make sure that I can also see the comments in here and not just on the Instagram feed. So just give me a little hello, little wave, little emoji if you can. That would be great. But otherwise, welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm going to be calling this the Bat Cave since we've got some Batman figures sneaking in behind there. And I'm so happy to be here with you all today, especially because we have the one and only Maureen Landry. Hello. I know Maureen is a little bit, modest and, she doesn't want a big spiel, but she is amazing. And if you have, been on my channel, if you've been following, you know that I have brought Maureen up numerous times as, someone who is very much a mentor to me. And I could definitely consider you a family friend and the cool aunt that I never had. So, or my, how do I call it? Indirect aunt. Right. My other aunts are very cool. Sorry. I don't mean to, they're very cool. But Maureen has been giving and receiving messages for what, 40, you were saying 40 years? That is wild. And you continue to teach and you continue to lead and inspire. And I hope that we get to do that here today. And also stay tuned because you guys, we will be chatting about Maureen's course that she is going to be offering in the fall, in September, and I think possibly October. And I'm going to post some more details at the end. But also you are welcome to email me to get Maureen's email for more details on the course. So if you're interested, stay tuned. We're going to be chatting a little bit about the course that she will be offering on, let me just remove my sticky notes here to give this book the proper introduction. A New Science of Heaven by Robert Temple. Now, this book is, I would say, kind of laying a little bit of the groundwork, a little bit, right? Some of the foundation, I think, for what maybe plasma is, which is, of course, the fifth state of matter? Fourth state of matter, after solid, liquid, and gas. And he proposes that our world and space, the planets, are made up of plasma. So all really interesting stuff. Of course, hi, I'm Erin Marie. I didn't give myself an introduction, but you don't really need one. And we're going to be diving into The Science of Heaven by Robert Temple, plasma energy, what that means for us. What is plasma? And where do we go with this new information? So, Maureen, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about Robert Temple, because you've been following him more than I have, right? I think you've discovered him when he was studying crop circles, I think. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, I came across Robert Temple in this book by watching Megalithomania, which is a show that comes out of the UK. And they run a fantastic conference every year. And then they post the videos from the conference later on. So I was tuning into that to see what was happening with them. And Robert Temple was presenting on a temple that he had been working on with some other Egyptologists in Egypt. And it was a very recent discovery. It's one of the best preserved temples they have over there, which is quite amazing. Yeah. And so he was there at the Megalithomania conference to talk about that and the restoration process. But he happened to mention this book that he had just brought out, A New Science of Heaven, which was published in 2022. And he briefly talked about it and talked about plasma and frequency and consciousness of plasma. And I was absolutely amazed and so excited about this book. So I had to find it, which I did. And that's kind of a long story too. But anyway, I finally got hold of a copy. And I'm very excited to talk to you about it today and to share it with everybody, some of the thoughts that he writes about, because I think that, as he says in the book, it has huge implications for our planet and everyone on it. And just to, so that's how I found the book. And just to use his words of why he wrote this book, it's on the very cover of the book. And it says, "How the science of plasma will transform humanity's understanding of its place in the universe." That's a pretty big and bold statement. And then when you start reading about it, he talks about the plasma clouds that are in our Earth's atmosphere between Earth and our moon, and that these clouds are conscious clouds. So from the get-go, as intuitives and mediums and creative people, we are very intrigued by these concepts because we've been interacting with fields of consciousness, beings of consciousness, our higher selves, our intuitive selves for many, many, many eons, mediums throughout the ages. Yeah. And now to have the science be catching up with what we've been doing for a long time is very interesting. I've always been interested in, because we work on frequencies, that's how we connect with these greater realms of knowledge. And to have the science put together with the spirituality, I thought was very affirming and very, very interesting. So, so we can just go into talking a little bit about the purpose of why Robert Temple wrote this book from his perspective, and the discovery of these dusty plasma clouds in 1961 and rediscovery in 2019. So I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'll pull up the image a little bit here. So this is an image, what Robert has in his book. Robert, I'm going to call you by your first name. I hope that's okay. But this, so you can kind of see here this diagram. So L4 and L5 is where the clouds would be. So these clouds are, you can't see it with, the naked eye, right? They hover just above our atmosphere, and they're made up of dust, correct? They would be also called dusty clouds. I think they've also been referred to as. And these Hungarian scientists, astronomers, rather, they rediscovered these clouds that had always been there, and they were really excited because they were in the exact position where Polish scientist, and now I'm going to be blanking on his first name, but I also believe it starts with a K, Kordylewski, discovered the positioning of these clouds in the 60s. So they discovered them again recently, and there's a diagram of, you can kind of see where they would be positioned. So L4 and L5 is where these clouds hover. And again, you need like a very heavy duty, this is the not scientific word for it, but telescope in order to see these clouds. And I do remember reading they had a very hard time, not super important, but they had a hard time finding these clouds because they said that in Hungary it's hard to find a clear sunny day. So they had to come back multiple times to measure these clouds and make sure that they were in the same location. Yeah.
So just to pick up on that, the clouds were first discovered, as you said, by Kazimierz Kordylewski in 1961. And because none of the other scientists at the time could find these clouds he was talking about, nobody really believed him.
Mm-hmm.
And so nobody continued to look for them. And in, as you said, in 2019, when the Hungarian astronomers were looking through their telescopes, they found these clouds. And they were quite struck by the fact, because they remembered or knew that of the discovery by Kordylewski in 1961. So, but they weren't, they published about it, having, cited these dusty complex plasma clouds. They're very hard to see because they're, even when you are looking with these amazing instruments that these scientists have, they're almost invisible. The clouds are almost invisible. They're you can see right through them. So that's why it took even more, I guess, people with an interest in plasma clouds to then come back to have another look. The Hungarian astronomers, according to Professor Temple's book, were not that interested in the
plasma itself.
In the plasma, dusty plasma aspect of it. They were interested in it from an astronomer's point of view. Yeah, these clouds are there. That's very interesting. But Robert Temple, because he's a very spiritual, he's a polymath, and he's very interested in communication with other worlds and realms and the science of all that, he decided to look further into it. And he contacted his friend, who is a physicist, Dr. Chandra Wickramasinghe, who is in Sri Lanka. And they did a study together, published it in 2019. And the title of the study is The Kordylewski Dust Clouds. Could they be cosmic superbrains? So what Robert Temple intuited is that not only are these dusty plasma clouds science, they're also conscious or have intelligence, able to contain information. And he wanted to investigate this further, as did Dr. Chandra Wickramasinghe. So they published this study in 2019. So this is very, very recent information. And when we think about, so maybe we could talk about size a little bit. We can see from the diagram where the points are. They're located, when we're looking from Earth up to our moon, there are two clouds, and one is on the left side of the moon and one is on the right side of the moon at about 60 degrees. And they are, each cloud is 9 times bigger than planet Earth. So first we have to get our heads around the size. It's hard for us to imagine, but they're 9 times bigger than planet Earth. And because they're so huge, they're cosmic superbrains, they can contain a lot of information. And I'd like to just read a couple of excerpts from the book, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
To talk about where Professor Temple talks about the capacity for information that these two dusty plasma clouds have, and that they may even be conscious beings. So let me just find this here.
Yeah, while you do that, I'm going to see if I can find maybe a telescope image of the clouds. I think I know it exists somewhere.
Sure.
I'll pull that up.
So he writes, if what these scientists are showing, and I for one think they are, is that the internal structures of the two clouds could be so complex and at such a vast scale, then they surpass any possible human knowledge at this time. So move over, AI.
Yeah.
Move over and make room for the K clouds, as I call them. The storage capacity for information would easily include the ability to retain full knowledge of everything that has ever happened in our local cosmic environment for 4 billion years. Everyone who has ever lived will be recorded. Every creature that has ever roamed the surface of the earth will be recorded. That was one of his first statements on the capacity of these clouds. We'll get into, Aaron, I'd like to come back to Madame Blavatsky and the Akashic records and Edgar Cayce and all that related to this at a little bit later on. So another quote from Dr. Temple on the capacity of these clouds is, this is how, he tells us that 99% of the universe is plasma. Mm-hmm. So that makes Earth what we think is reality, and Earth is interpenetrated with plasma, as are our bodies, but it makes plasma the dominant element, really, of our universe. So this is how different, this is a quote now, this is how different plasma really is. With dusty, complex plasmas, a tenuous and essentially invisible cloud in space can hold together and become a brain even bigger than an ocean, a brain so gigantic that it is many times larger than our entire planet. We have to get used to thinking like this and to realize that these clouds in space are so different from anything we know in our lives or anything we could have imagined, that all of our conventional notions are completely useless. So what he's doing here for us is he's flipping the paradigm of, hey, everything is solid and we just have to figure out all the solid parts of the universe and then we'll have the answers, to everything's not solid.
Yeah.
And everything is plasma, plus a little, which is it's not atomic matter. Atomic matter is solid like us, 3D. Plasma has a lot more space to it, and it's harder to see and beyond our physical capacity often to perceive. We'll talk about some Earth examples of plasma for sure, but what he's saying is that the universe is 99% plasma, and he's flipping the paradigm of what we know.
Yeah. And I did also read that there is like some, with everything, I think in science and life, there's some controversy with that, because I think mathematicians don't like that because it's not, you can't really, I guess you can't quantify it. Does that make sense? And so there is some debate about it. But if you were to ask, what Robert Temple also said, that some, astrophysicists, that they've been able to study this and also produce plasma in a lab, which I find really fascinating too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think too, another distinction of these clouds is that they're not just information in there. There's not just facts and figures. There's a consciousness. And the consciousness has ability to be spiritual, and which implies a moral aspect, an ethical aspect, an emotional aspect. And it takes us from the realm of, AI, which is pure information, to a being. These dusty complex plasmas are able to self-organize. They have biological implications as well. And so they're more beings than they are just plain elements that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
He says intelligent calculations by such conscious plasmas would be so rapid and so massive that a Kordylewski cloud would easily have the capacitor to monitor every living creature on Earth in real time and model future events for all of them. Such a cloud could thus foresee with a high degree of probability what would happen in almost any Earth situation and have models of every conceivable variable effects on events. From the point of view of the limited human brain, a Kordylewski cloud therefore has the capacity of what to us would be indistinguishable from omniscience, the all-knowing.
Yeah.
This is wow. This is like blow your mind wow. And as mediums and intuitives, we can relate to this because probabilities is what we work on when we are bringing through information from spirit, right?
Yeah.
We are the probabilities of anything that can happen in anybody's life are innumerable, infinite number of possibilities. And we're so crazy that we're going in there and trying and asking spirit to send us the probability that, you know, Aunt Ethel is going to recover from her liver disease next week, you know. So that's a bad example, but
we know what you mean. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? We are going out there into this sea of probability and asking spirit to bring us in the most likely to manifest in our reality. Which wave of probability is going to collapse into physical reality in our lives? Because we want to help one another. That's the whole purpose of mediumship, is to be of service, to help, to heal, to, you know, to bring hope, and to also bring the certainty that there is life after this life.
Yes.
And that's an important aspect of this work as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think so. Every time I was reading that too, like I kept thinking of, that's why they say heaven is on earth, right? Or that's why spirit has always said, we're right here. Like we've never left. We're still here. That's at least been the general feeling. And I feel like the general consensus with mediums, that they're so close. And that would make sense to me, especially if we're all composed of plasma, right? And that's kind of just something that really stuck out to me when reading the book.
It's such an important point because this is another quote from Professor Temple. My primary purpose of the book is to reconcile the spiritual with the material, and thereby to show that the dispute between them is false. It's not an either or, right? No. There is, in fact, no contradiction between them. And when one digests the teachings of the new science of plasma, the plasma is not just out there in the Kordylewski clouds, it's everywhere. These clouds are just concentrations of plasma that are organizing and conscious and hold information that we can access. But the plasma is everywhere. It's in us. And maybe you could talk about that integration of the spiritual body and the physical body, and how plasma is in each of us.
Yeah, I think there's like studies, I think in the book Robert mentions too, that they've studied that, you know, the majority of us exists in us, like plasma is a part of us. We've always understood, I think, that like everything is made up of matter or energy, right? We are made up of energy. Energy does not die. But this, I feel like, is kind of narrowing it down a little bit more. And the fact that like, I feel like the fact that not only Robert Temple is talking about it, but also other researchers are talking about it says a lot. I was telling Maureen too, that I'm probably going off a little bit on a tangent, but I was telling Maureen before we started that I had found an article just last year published by NASA saying that they've also, I think the title of the article is called Extraterrestrial Life in Space, Plasma in the Thermosphere. So they've been able to study that and find that their plasma is in space, and the way that they're interacting with each other is intelligent. Not that they're saying that like there's, you know, necessarily people that look like us out there, right? But that these dust particles, which Robert Temple does talk about in his book too, that dust is in space, are interacting with each other, and the way that they move like is intelligent. And so that exists within us too, to bring it back. Yeah.
And everything we know as energy bodies, you know, what we call our aura. And Robert Temple has a whole chapter on this in his book, how we are plasma beings in a physical existence, but we're infused with plasma, and plasma is the way we connect with all the sources of energy in the universe. So our aura, our chakras, our meridians, you know, it doesn't matter which tradition you look at, the Chinese tradition of meridians or Eastern teachings of chakras and so on. The energy that they're talking about and referring to is plasma energy. So we are plasma beings, and we are spirits, basically.
Yeah.
We are spirits in physical bodies.
Yeah, so just to answer Terry's question, she's asking, is plasma, so plasma is part of our physical body? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What we've been calling energy fields forever in the New Age communities or spiritual communities, however you want to frame it, our energy bodies, the auras, the chakras, systems, and so on, are plasma fields. And maybe we could just talk briefly about some other aspects of manifestations of plasma on Earth that are more common for us.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, we see plasma in lightning, right? It talks about lightning, the aurora borealis, the northern lights. That is composed of plasma. That's where we see it here. And all of that, too, has an electric current, right? So a positive and a negative charge, which I find really, really interesting. And then he also briefly talks about, I don't know if you want me to kind of, the part that sticks out to me too, so many parts of this book stick out to me, but when he talks about the balls of fire, fiery orbs. So if you're watching and maybe you've seen these balls of light or energy light, Robert proposes that those are also that's plasma. That is plasma, manifesting itself here on Earth. And also he's saying that ball of energy is associated sometimes with extraterrestrials or UAPs. And I was just telling Maureen too that I found it really interesting because not only do they find that these balls of energy manifest or appear with when UFO sightings happen, but they also manifest with Bigfoot sightings. So that's a whole other ball of wax. I'm not going to go into it a little bit, but it's just something that really stuck out to me. And the fact that these balls of light have the ability to, he mentions go in and out of surfaces, like in between walls. So they kind of have similar properties to how, we might refer to as ghosts, right? Or spirits. Again, all with this like positive and negative, having electric current, manifesting. And then also the other interesting thing too, is they find that, this is just a sidebar, that anytime there are paranormal happenings, sometimes it is when a thunderstorm occurs. And so you might be more likely to get some spirit interaction when that happens. But that also would make sense to me because that would be heightened with that plasma energy and you're trying to connect. And, it's about all of the right kind of physical events happening all at once. To create these manifestations to happen. So that's kind of those little examples coming in. Sorry, I'm seeing a bunch of questions. Let me know, Maureen, if you want to stop and answer a few of these questions, or if you want to keep going.
Well, I just want to make one comment before we go to questions. So I think the moral of the story is that plasma, we can see plasma. There are manifestations of plasma physically with our physical eyes in this world.
Yes.
And it's also seeable and it's also invisible. So I think the important point for us is that 99% of it is like invisible. And so that's how much we have to learn about. We have a lot to learn about plasma and its properties and connecting with our spiritual selves. Go ahead. Questions. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's go to Terry's. Terry, you've got great questions. I'm going to pop them up on the screen here. So Terry Scott asks, has anyone tried to communicate or talk with these plasma clouds?
I have.
Yeah, I have too. I've been trying to do it more before my readings now, of having that kind of visual. I don't know what, I think they don't really look like our typical clouds, but in my brain, I've just kind of put them in as, cloud-like. But I've been trying to do that as well. And also I try to make sure if I'm doing readings in the day now that I'm having the window open to let more light in from the sun, because sun that's plasma energy coming through as well. Maureen, how have you tried to talk? Because this is actually interesting. I think this is a good segue into maybe how, I don't know if you want to go there yet, how it kind of came to your third eye, how this book kind of psychically came to you a little bit.
And some of the people who are tuned in today will know this story, so I apologize for the repetition, but it's kind of interesting because I was meditating at Christmas in 2023. I find Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year's, a wonderful time to meditate because the veil between the worlds is very thin. And I find I get a lot of inspiration, usually for my retreats in the summer, comes in during that time. So I was meditating, and I was given something called the 12 blessings. And I'm going, okay, the 12 blessings, I like that. I'll write it down. What are they, Spirit? So, and they came in, boom, 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 12 blessings. And the 12 blessings are really words that we all know, and very generic, like peace, like silence, like sanctuary. And I said, okay, these are pretty ordinary words. Like, what is the deal with these words? And it was, Spirit said, these are frequencies. There are frequencies attached to each of the 12 blessings. Mm-hmm. And they said that they've never been on Earth before, these frequencies. And so I'm careful about making statements like, I'm going to share the 12 blessings with you that have never been on Earth before. I'm very careful about things like that. So I said to Spirit, I will share the 12 blessings and tell people about the frequencies, but I will not say they've never been seen on Earth before. I want you to show me that they've never been seen on Earth before. This is what we do. We test the spirits. We don't accept everything. So I shared the 12 blessings in workshops in 2024 with people, had people meditate with them. That was a very, very powerful experiences for people. And I said to Spirit, okay, so where is the never been seen before on Earth proof or energy about this energy? And that's when I came across the information about the book. And the study in 2019 about plasma and frequencies of plasma and fields of plasma and information that are 9 times bigger than Earth and omniscient. So I thought, okay, let's work with these energies. That's how it came through. Yeah.
That's really cool. And before we go to the next question, I know, Terry, you have another question. And if you also have questions, feel free to post them in the comments. We'll see if we can answer them. We promise no, there might be more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Like I think we have. But I was telling Maureen that I was out taking Ethan for a walk, and I was also trying to be like, okay, what does this actually mean? Like, what are we gonna really? And I think we'll go into it a little bit more in a few minutes, but like, where are we going with this new information? And Spirit showed me a rainbow, but it was a rainbow that had light refracting through a window, creating this rainbow. And I was like, Maureen, what does that mean? She was like, well, you told me that it creates, each color is a different vibration, right? And so I think that's really, really interesting. And also the fact that like maybe we will not fully be able to see that, rainbow on the other side of the glass, we'll be able to see maybe a version of it, which I think is always how we've, as mediums, been able to communicate with spirit. We're not seeing the clear picture. It is literally like looking through kind of a foggy glass and trying to pick apart the pieces that we see from that. So I think it could be similar with plasma, or when Ethan is older, probably have more information on it and know what to do with it than we do right now. But yeah, I just think it's really, 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 really interesting stuff. And when Maureen suggests a book, you read it. Like, you just don't question it. You're just like, okay, I will read this. Okay, so we have another question from Terry, which I think is a cool question. I'm gonna throw this one at you, Maureen. I'm gonna put you in the in the hot seat. I think so, but what do you think, Maureen? Terry asks, can they create portals with plasma energy?
Yeah, I like the word create, Terry, because this is just my interpretation of the whole plasma field deal and the Kordylewski clouds. I think they are given to us as vehicles for creation, vehicles of creation. I think that we have this information now to work, and the invitation to work with this energy in a creative way to create whatever we want. Mm-hmm. So can they create portals? My answer would be yep. I think they are portals, actually. Yeah. And but I think the imperative that comes with this information is to, okay, Earthlings, what are you going to create with the plasma? It's a creative medium, no pun. It's a creative medium, as an artist would work with paints, a sculptor with clay. We are meant to take this information and do something with it, create with it. And I'm sure that everybody in this audience can think of a bunch of things that we need to create on this earth. So I think it's a very good question, and I encourage everyone to be creative with it. You don't need a formula. You don't need Maureen or Aaron or anybody to tell you what to do with it. You do your thing with it. You do your thing, and that's what it's all about. It's not, it's two things. It's working individually with your own individual thoughts and inspiration, because spirit will inspire you. We don't need permission.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is that we're going to be working more and more in groups with plasma energy. That's, we have known for a while, and we, through different teachers and mediums and teachings, that we are going to be working more and more in group energy, with group energy fields, with group plasma beings. Why not? And they believe me, those in those invisible worlds are standing by, waiting for you to come up with your idea, and ask them to work with you, because we always ask and you shall receive, and then create your thing. And it doesn't, it can be whatever your heart is inspired with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really interesting, portal's always been an interesting word to me. There have been times where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that word. But then other times where, because portal, I think I'll just elaborate a bit. Portal feels a little bit too simplistic, if that makes any sense. There's always felt like there's a little bit more to it than just like this portal of like, a door to maybe another dimension. But I think that's interesting in itself, because if we also think about it in terms of like UAPs, there's been this suggestion too that they kind of come through like some, portal, or how do they get here, right? And so maybe that's an association with these like plasma, these bulbs, or these flaming orbs. I think that's what Robert calls them. And even Bigfoot, our hairy friend. So who knows? Yeah.
I'll just jump in and say that I was telling Aaron earlier, there is a conference going on in Gatineau today, as we speak, on Bigfoot and Bigfoot sightings, with a lot of elders from various Indigenous communities speaking. I have a friend who's attending, and I'm going to be very anxious to hear if maybe some plasma phenomena is involved with these sightings.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I wonder if they're going to mention these like flaming balls. Yeah, or orbs. That's really, really interesting. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to throw them in. I think we kind of already touched on it, of like, where do we kind of go from here? But like, how, as a medium, I guess I'm trying to think of like, what is it through meditation? What is the best way to connect with these plasma clouds?
Yes, being still and quiet, and asking for them to manifest. To you.
Yeah.
And it will happen through thought energy, through imagination. Imagination is the portal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the best way, is to be still and see what comes in, and trust what comes in, because we don't trust what comes in. We just think, oh, I'm making that up. I'm making that up about frequencies never seen before on Earth, or, knowledge not been on Earth before. This is what we do. So we have to just trust.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, and we haven't talked about this yet, is, to enhance your plasma body. Take care of the plasma in your body. You can, like you were speaking of earlier, opening your window and letting in more light. And I've been going out and walking in nature every day, taking in sunlight. And nature is a plasma world for sure. So, meditating is good, or just being still and listening to meditative music. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be long. It could be 15 minutes and you're good. But so call it a plasma bath.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anything you can do to enhance, because the sun, we haven't talked about that. The sun is a huge source of plasma. The sun is spewing out plasma. All these, what do they call them? Those plasma streaks that are coming out of the sun.
Oh, they know what you're talking. The
solar flares. Thank you.
Yeah.
This solar flares and solar wind, and it's laden with plasma. So this is how we are being infused constantly in our Earth atmosphere, in our bodies, with these sources of plasma. And so it's a good idea to consciously, focus on that. Go out and get some sunlight, some fresh air, water. Yeah. So.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Terry. Solar flares. There's a bit of a lag there, but Terry.
Yeah.
Terry helped us out. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Terry's just sharing that she saw it. I'm going to pop it up here. Hang on. I saw a dinosaur flying in, and a couple of UAP just jumped the sky in front of me. That's cool. With these portals, I guess. I think that's what you're saying, Terry. Coming out of these portals. That's cool.
Everything old is new again with the dinosaurs.
Yeah. And I mean, well, in going back to the sun, I don't know if this is going to be off topic at all, or but the thing that was really also interesting is that when they were measuring, I don't know how they were studying it, the sun, they found that the further they went into the core of the sun, it wasn't that it was hot, it was getting cold.
Yep. And it's total scientific heresy. Robert Temple, I love I love
Yeah,
what he writes, because, you know, and this is where we live as mediums, on the edge of, you know, dismissal and derision. But anyhow, that's the fact that, you know, the universe is 99% plasma. There are still many scientists who believe that space is vacant, it's void still. And the conventional thinking was that, you're right, the sun was hotter in the middle because the core would be hotter, just like Earth's core is warmer. So, and he is saying that it's cooler in there, and he gives very interesting reasons for his scientific conclusions. Yeah. So, this is turning things, a lot of science upside down, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, well, and I think he talks about it too in his book, that sometimes, you know, the greatest discoveries are the ones that get poo-pooed or, you know, dismissed quite early on. People kind of think that you're out to lunch. So
100%. And I love the first line of his book. In October 2019, a momentous event took place, but as sometimes happens in these cases, no one noticed at the time.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? I know that we only have about 10 minutes left, but yep. I honestly thought that I would be hearing more about this online. And I think unless you actually are looking for it, it's not just going to kind of come on at you. I mean, I think it's interesting because I just feel like this is so, I don't know, it like kind of, it says a lot about our own reality and not only just like our spiritual work, but just like our world in general, that I thought there'd be a little bit more discussion about it, because there is science that backs this up. You know, yes, Robert, I think he's proposing a lot, right? He makes a really good, this is a great book for like just getting you to think, I think, in different ways. And to not be so kind of just tunnel visioned. He's trying to open your perspective up and your minds a little bit, which is kind of what we do, right, as mediums. But he also has research to back up a lot of these findings. So I'm just kind of surprised that it's not getting chatted about a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a scientific tour de force, in my opinion, because he knows and knew many scientists, Nobel laureate scientists, physicists, and he's made an incredible scientific case with this book. So I agree.
Yeah. There's another question here from Terry. We'll just pop it up here. So she says, is all the dark matter in space a type of plasma?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a great question. And Robert Temple says, dark plasma and dark matter is plasma.
Yeah,
dark matter is plasma. And you can imagine the hullabaloo that's going to cause among the scientific community and certain members. But anyway, I think he's right about that for sure.
Yeah,
it's full of plasma everywhere. There's no void and there's no like dark matter.
Yeah. Plasma. Yeah, and because plasma is measurable and observable, right? Like, and dark matter is more of a theory to explain gravitational. What am I reading? Gravitational effects, right?
In fact, really intelligent scientists will say they don't even know what energy is. They can't even really define it.
Yeah.
So dark matter is probably somebody's opinion more than anything. But I think that I just wanted to talk about, for the science people in the crowd, the composition of plasma as opposed to physical matter. Physical matter is protons, neutrons, and electrons whirling around, making an electromagnetic field. And that is solid. Our bodies are made of atoms. That's atomic energy, and that's physical solids. Plasma is one negative electron, one positive proton, and one positive ion. So it doesn't have the same composition as atomic matter. It's different. and that's why it's more elusive, let's call it. Yeah, very unscientific term, but there we go.
Yeah, it's really, really neat stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're approaching the 5-minute mark. We'll slowly, I guess, start to kind of wrap things up. But Maureen, do you briefly want to talk about the course that you're going to be offering, or what are you up to these days?
So before I go there, I'd like to come back to a comment I made earlier about the incredible information fields that these plasma clouds are, and also how that relates to the Akashic records and Madame Blavatsky, the theosophist of the 1800s, talked about that there would be this great discovery of the Akashic records that contain the information of all of Earth and all its people and all knowledge for all time. Mm-hmm. And so people are drawing connections, obviously, with those ancient predictions or older time predictions with what's happening now with the rediscovery of the Kordylewski clouds and their capacity for information. And also Edgar Cayce, who many of the audience will be aware, predicted that the Hall of Records would be discovered. He predicted that it would be through the paws of the Sphinx, between the paws of the Sphinx under the left paw, that's where this location is for the Hall of Records. He did not predict in what year these Hall of Records would become known to the world, but he did give this location related to the Sphinx in Giza. Now, as many will know, there's a lot of science and discoveries going on the Giza Plateau these days by two scientists, Biondi and Mei, the Italian scientists, who will be doing revelations about the spaces that they have found underneath the Sphinx and the Giza Plateau. So I just wanted to bring up those things as well, because the implications, again, are huge. And as mediums and intuitives, it could be a very interesting and fun exercise to go exploring the K clouds and see what relationships we come up with, if any, to those ancient times and those predictions. And so I think, as Professor Robert Temple says in his book, there are many questions. The book raises more questions than answers. And I think that's where I'm going with my workshops, to get around to that point. Is that, okay, so what do we do with this information now? Where do we go from here as creative people, as intuitives, as mediums, as people who are interested in that world? Because many people don't consider themselves intuitives, but they are interested. So I say, hey, come on in and let's experiment. I'm doing a workshop on September 21st. I'm going to be doing it online. And we're going to play around a little bit with applying some of this knowledge, experimenting, going into meditation, seeing how various people in the group are inspired with whatever comes through. And it'll be fun. We'll see what happens. I've done it myself. I've done it with my sister, who's very mediumistic, done it with a friend who's very mediumistic, and we've gotten some really cool, not major revelations, but some very cool stuff. I'll be posting. I sat the other day and asked for a message for the group, for all the people who are watching today on all the different platforms, a message for the people from this field, and I'll be posting that after we close the session. I'll post it and everybody will be able to see it there. So it's the application of this knowledge. That's where I'm going with my workshops.
Yeah, how to apply it. Well, I will be there with bells and whistles. I'm very excited. And I hope our audience, or even, people that might not be familiar with you will also come on, because I know in my head there's a few people are popping it in. So I'm super, super excited. If you, I'm going to be posting Maureen's email Okay, and so if you want to reach out to her, you can. I'm going to post it actually up here for us, everybody, so you'll be able to see it. Whoops, there it go.
There it is.
Okay. Again, if you're not quick with the pen, or you're like, I can't write it down right now, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll send it to you, and you can email Maureen, and she'll give you the details. So very exciting. I also do have some articles on it. So if you guys are interested, you can reach out to me. Not articles on Maureen's workshop, but articles from Robert Temple's book, but also just that NASA article that I quickly scanned over before we started. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, reach out to me, and I'll send you the link for that. But really cool stuff, really cool things happening. And yeah, if you guys want to talk about the Kordylewski clouds or anything else, I'm definitely happy to do so, to see how you're connecting with it. If you guys get anything, you should definitely keep us posted.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Maureen. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. I'm always happy to be here.
Yeah, we got to do it again. We'll do something else again. This is fun. Bye, everybody. Yes, take care.
For sure.